guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel, you guys. I hope you guys are all doing amazing, well lit, turn all that. Today guys, as you can tell from the title, we're reading some scary Reddit stories, you guys. I seen a post a couple days ago, or like today, that we're like halfway to Halloween, so like why not read some scary stories from Reddit? Okay, you guys. So before I get into that, we already know this is a 420 channel, so we're not only gonna be reading Reddit stories, guys, but before I let you guys know what else I'm gonna be doing, I'm just gonna give you guys disclaimers. If you do not like anything to do with 420 content, getting lit, faded, turned, please don't watch this video, okay, guys? Also, I do not condone anything going on in this video. And then another little slight disclaimer: if you guys hear me breathing low-key kind of heavy, I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is, but I took a nap and I woke up with allergies. So, but I really wanted to film this video because, yeah, like I'm in the mood to film. So like, why the fuck not? But anyways, guys, I'm gonna be taking some bong hits in this video. Yeah, guys. So, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna start off with a bong rip. So that's what we're gonna do. That piece is like big, so because it's big, I'm forced to take bigger hits, and I like almost died. But guys, so the first story we're starting with, which by the way, I'm reading it off my phone, so if you see me looking down here, that's why. Also, if you guys can hear the AC in the background, I'm so sorry, guys. But this story is from the thread No Sleep, and it says, I'm a long haul trucker. I stopped for a lost kid on a deserted highway in the dead of the night. When I saw what I saw attached to him, and the question he asked is why I don't drive anymore. This happened a few years back. I was doing long haul, mostly cross country routes, the kind that you take through vast stretches of nothing. You know, the ones where the radio turns to static for hours. I could never. And the only sign of life is the occasional pair of headlights going the other way, miles apart. I was younger, eager for the miles, the money, don't mind the solitude, or so I thought. The route I was on took me across a long, desolate stretch of highway that ran between the borders of two large governmental territories. I don't want to say exactly where, but think big empty spaces, lots of trees, not much else. It was notorious among drivers for being a dead zone. No signal, no towns for hundreds of miles either side, and prone to weird weather. Most guys tried to hit it during daylight, but schedules are schedules. Mine had me crossing it deep in the night. I remember the feeling, utter blackness outside, the sweep of my headlights, the kind of dark that feels like it's pressing in on the cab. The only sounds were the drone of the diesel engine, the hiss of the air brakes now and then, and the rhythmic thrum of the tires on asphalt. Hypnotic. Too hypnotic. Guys, I hate hypnotic. Do you guys like that drink? Because I hate it. I'm taking the break. Intermission. It must have been around 2 or 3 a.m. I was in that weird state where you're not quite asleep but not fully awake either. Like your brain is running on low power mode. The white lines on the road were starting to blur together, stretching and warping. Standard fatigue stuff. Fatigue. I remember blinking hard trying to refocus. Bro, pull the fuck over. What the fuck? That's when I saw it, or thought I saw it. Just a flicker at the edge of my headlights on the right shoulder of the road, a small load of ground. For a split second, I registered a shape, vaguely human-like, and then it was gone, swallowed by the darkness as I passed. Oh bitch, I would have been out of there. I drove for maybe another 30 seconds, the image fading, my rational mind starting to win. Just a figment. Then I glanced at my passenger side mirror, habit always checking, real. And my blood went cold. Not just cold, it felt like it turned to slush. Intermission. Intermission. There, illuminated faintly by the red glow of my trailer lights, receding in the distance was the reflection of a small figure, standing on the shoulder of the road, exactly where I thought I'd seen something. It wasn't a bush. It wasn't a shadow. It was small, and it was definitely standing there, unmoving, as my truck pulled further and further away. My heart started hammering against my ribs. This wasn't fatigue. This was real. There was something back there, and it looked tiny. Every instinct screamed at me, danger, wrong, keep going, but another voice, the one that makes us human, I suppose, whispered something else. A kid, alone out here, what if they're hurt, lost? Fuck them kids. I fought with myself for a few seconds that stretched into an eternity. The image in the mirror was getting smaller, fainter. If I didn't act now, they'd be lost to the darkness again. God, the thought of leaving a child out there, if that's what it was. Why'd I look right there? Against my better judgment, against that primal urge to just floor it, I made a decision. I slowed the rig, their air brakes hissing like angry snakes, pulled over to the shoulder, the truck groaning in protest, put on my hazards, their rhythmic flashing cutting into the oppressive blackness. Okay, descriptive. Then, I did what you're never supposed to do with a full trailer on a narrow shoulder. Started to reverse, slowly, carefully, my eyes flicking between the mirrors, trying to keep the trailer straight, trying to relocate that tiny figure. The crunch of gravel under the tires sounded unnaturally loud. It took a minute, maybe two, but it felt like an hour. The red glow of my taillights eventually washed over the spot again, and there it was. A kid. I stopped the truck so my cab was roughly alongside them, maybe 10 feet away, switched on the high beams, hoping to get a better look, and also to make myself clearly visible as a truck, not something else. The kid was small, really small. I'd guess maybe 6-7 years old, hard to tell in the glare. They were just standing there, on the very edge of the gravel shoulder, right where the trees began. The woods pressed in the close of the stretch of the road, tall dark pines and dense undergrowth that looked like a sodded. Yo, what if I was freaking suicidal? All these times. Wait, guys, I'm joking. Am I allowed to make jokes like that with you guys? I hope I am. The kid wasn't looking at me. They were facing sort of parallel to the road, just walking slowly, like they were on a stroll, completely oblivious to the massive 18-wheeler that just pulled up beside them. Engine. Oh my gosh. Engine rumbling, lights blazing. They were wearing what looked like pajamas, thin light colored pajamas in the chill of the night. No coat, no shoes that I could see. My mind reeled. This was wrong. So many levels of wrong. I killed the engine. The sudden silence was almost deafening, amplifying the crickets, the rustle of leaves in the woods from a breeze that I couldn't feel in the cab. My heart was still thumping, a weird mix of fear and adrenaline, and a dawning sense of responsibility. Fuck no. I rolled down the window, the night air hit me, cold and damp, carrying the scent of pine and wet earth. Hey, I called out. My voice sounded hoarse, too loud in the quiet. Hey, kid. No response. They just kept walking, one small bare foot in front of the other, at a pace that was taking them absolutely nowhere fast. Their head was down, slightly. I couldn't see their face properly. Kid, are you okay? I tried again, louder this time. Slowly. So slowly. The kid stopped. They didn't turn their head fully. Just sort of angled it at a fraction, enough that I could see a pale silver cheek in the spill of my headlights. Still not looking at me, still ignoring the multi-ton machine idling beside them. Big ol' his spine. Not the normal kind of unease. This was deeper, colder. Animals act weird sometimes, but kids, a lost kid should be scared, relieved, something. This one was nothing. What are you doing here, all alone? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm, friendly, like you're supposed to do with a scared kid. Even though this one didn't seem scared at all. It's the middle of the night. Silence, just the sound of their bare feet scuffling softly on the gravel as they took another step, then another. As if my presence was a minor inconvenience, a background noise they were choosing to ignore. At that point, my ass is back in the truck and I'm out. Like the fuck? I stopped. I tried. They gone. They're not here. Where are your parents? I pushed, my voice a bit sharper than I intended. Are you lost? Finally, the kids stopped walking completely. They turned their head just a little more, still not looking directly at my cab, more towards the front of my truck, into the glare of the headlights. I could see their face a bit better now, pale, featureless in the harsh light, like a porcelain doll. Small, dark smudges that might have been eyes, no expression, none, not fear, not sadness, not relief, just blank. An unreadable state. Oh, slate. Then a voice, small, thin, like the rustle of dry leaves. Lost. Bitch, why am I getting dramatic? Just one word. It hung in the air between us. Relief washed over me, quickly followed by a fresh wave of concern. Okay, lost. That's something I can deal with. Okay, kid. Lost is okay. We can fix lost. Where do you live? Where are you going? The kid finally slowly turned their head fully towards my cab, towards me. I still couldn't make out that much detail in their face. The angle, the light. Something was obscuring it. Something in a sort of shadowy vagueness, despite the headlights. But I could feel their gaze. It wasn't like a normal kid's look. There was a weight to it, an intensity that was deeply unsettling for such a small form. Home, the kid said, the same thin, ready voice, trying to get home. Right, home. Where's home? I asked, leaning forward a bit, trying to project reassurance. Is it near here? Did you wander off from a campsite? A car? There were no campsite for miles, no broken down cars. There were no campsite for miles, no broken down cars on the shoulder. I knew that. The kid didn't answer that question directly. Instead, they took a small step forward towards the truck, then another. My aunt had stood at her hand, ready to open it to offer what? A ride? Shelter? I don't know. It's cold out here, I said, stating the obvious. You should get in. We can get you warm, and I can call for help when we get a spot with a signal. My CB was useless, just static. My phone had shown no service for the last hour. The kid stopped about 5 feet from my passenger door, still in that pale, thin pajama-like outfit, barefoot on the sharp gravel. They should be shivering, crying. They were doing neither. Can you help me? The kid asked. The voice was still small, but there was a different inflection to it now, less flat, a hint of something else, pleading maybe. Yeah, of course I can help you, I said. That's why I stopped. Where are your parents? How did you get here? The kid tilted their head, a jerky, unnatural little movement. They're waiting. At home. Okay, bitch, the fuck? I just asked you where home is, bitch. How many times I gotta ask? The fuck? Okay, and where's home? Which direction? I gestured vaguely up and down the empty highway. The kid didn't point down the road. They made a small, subtle gesture with their head. A little nod. No mames. A little nod towards the trees. Towards the impenetrable darkness of the woods. In the highway. In there, the kid said. My stomach clenched. In the woods. Your home is in the woods. Lost, the kid repeated, as if that explained everything. Trying to find the path. It's dark. Yeah, it's very dark. I agreed with my eyes scanning the tree line. It looked like a solid wall of black. No sign of any path, any habitation. Whatever, just dense, old-growth forest. The kind of place you could get lost in for days or even in daylight. The whole time I thought the man was out of the truck. Sorry if you guys can hear the dogs, but can you come out? The kid asked. Help me look. bitch, you can't see it from here, neither can I. The fuck? Not doing that. Every rational thought in my head screamed, no. Get out of the truck. In the middle of nowhere, in the pitch dark, with this strange child. Who wanted me to go in the woods? Fuck no. Absolutely not. He didn't say fuck no. I'm saying fuck no. But he said no. Absolutely not. But the kid looked so small, so vulnerable. If there were even a tiny chance they were telling the truth that their house was a little way in, they were genuinely lost. I don't think that's a good idea, buddy, I said, trying to sound gentle. It's dangerous in there at night. Yo, what the fuck? For both of us, best thing for you is to hop in here with me. We'll drive until we get a signal, and then we'll call the police or the rangers. They can help you find your home properly. The kid just stood there, that blank, unreadable face fixed on me. But it's right there, they insisted, their voice a little more insistent now. Just a little way. I can almost see it if you just step out. The light from your door would help. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. My skin crawling. There was something profoundly wrong with this scenario. The way they were trying to coax me out. Yeah. The lack of normal emotional response. The pajamas, their bare feet, the woods. I looked closer at the kid, trying to pierce that strange vagueness around their features. My headlights were bright, but it was like they absorbed the light rather than reflected it. Their eyes, I still couldn't really see their eyes, just dark hollows. I really think you should get in the truck, I said, my voice firmer now. It's warmer in here. We can figure it out together. The kid took another step closer. They were almost at my running board now. Please, they said. That needy voice again. My leg hurts. I can't walk. I can't walk much further. If you could just help me a little, just to the path. My internal conflict was raging. My trucker instincts, honed by years of seeing weird stuff and hearing weird stories at truck stops, were blaring warnings. But the human part, the part that saw a child in distress, was still there, still arguing. I was tired, so damn tired. Maybe I wasn't thinking straight. Maybe this was also a bizarre misunderstanding. I squinted, trying to see past. That was such a whack ass hit. I squinted, trying to see past the kid towards the tree line they indicated. There was a faint trail. Was there a faint trail I was missing? A flicker of light deep in the woods? No, nothing. Just blackness, solid, unyielding blackness. And then I saw it. It wasn't something I saw clearly at first. It was more like an anomaly, a disturbance in the darkness behind the kid. The kid was standing with their back mostly to the woods, facing my truck. Behind them, the darkness of the forest was absolute, or it should have been. But there was something connected to them. Something that stretched from small of their back, from under the thin pajama top, and disappeared into the deeper shadows of the trees. First, I thought it was trick of the light, a weird shadow cast by my headlights hitting them at an odd angle. Maybe a rope they were dragging, a piece of clothing snagged on the branch. I leaned forward to try to get a clearer view. The kid was still talking, their voice a low, persistent murmur. It's not far. Please, just help me. I'm so cold. Okay, the fuck. But I wasn't really listening to the words anymore. I was focused on that thing behind them. It wasn't a rope. It wasn't a shadow. It was a tube. A long, dark, thick tube. No, I'm just kidding. It seemed to emerge directly from the kid's lower back, impossibly seamlessly. It was a dark mat, like a strip of the night itself given form, and it snaked away from the child, maybe 10, 15 feet, before disappearing into the inky blackness between two thick pine trunks. It wasn't rigid. It seemed to have a slight, almost flexibility, like a massive sluggish umbilical cord. made of shadows. It didn't reflect any light from my headlamps, it just absorbed it. My breath hitched in my throat. My blood, which had been cold before, now felt like it had frozen solid. This wasn't just wrong, this was impossible, unnatural. The kid was still trying to coax me. Are you going to help me? It's just there. You're so close. My voice, when I finally found it, was barely a whisper. I couldn't take my eyes behind that. I couldn't take my eyes off that appendage. Kid, what? What is that behind you? The kid flinched. Not a big movement, just a tiny, almost imperceptible, I don't know, tightening of their small frame. Their head, which had been tilted bleedingly straightened, the blackness on their face, it seemed to solidify. What's what? They asked, their voice suddenly devoid of a bleeding tone. It was flat again, colder. That, the thing, I slammered, pointing with a shaking finger. Coming out of your back, going into the woods. What is that? The kid didn't turn to look. They didn't need to. Their gaze, those dark, unseen eyes, bored into me. It's nothing, they said. The voice was still small, but it had no edge to it, a hardness. You're seeing things. You're tired. They were using my own earlier like, oh God, take a hit every time I fumble a word, please. Guys, I don't know why my lighter is starting to burn me. No, I said, my voice is gaining a tremor of conviction born of sheer terror. No, I'm not. I see it. It's right there. It's connected to you. The kid was silent for a long moment. The only sound was the thumping of my own heart, so loud I was sure they could hear it. The crickets had stopped. The wind had seemed to die down. An unnatural stillness fell over the scene. Then the kid's face began to change. It wasn't a dramatic movie monster transformation. It was more subtle and far more terrifying. The blankness didn't leave, but it sharpened. The pale skin seemed to tighten over the bones. The areas where the eyes were, those dark, smudged, seemed to deepen, to become more shadowed, more intense, and the flicker of something ancient and utterly alien passed across their features. It wasn't human anger, it was something older, colder, and infinitely more patient, how strained to its limits. My calf suddenly felt thick, heavy, hard to breathe. Just come out of the truck, the kid said. And the voice, oh God, the voice. It wasn't the small, needy voice of a child anymore. It was deeper, resonant, with a strange, grating undertone, like stones grinding together. It was coming from that small frame, but it was impossibly large, impossibly old, vibrated in my chest. Come out now. Man was absolute. My hand, which had been hovering near the gear stick, now gripped it like a lifeline. My other hand fumbled for the ignition key, which stupidly I left in. What are you? I choked out, staring at the monstrous thing playing dressed up in a child's form, at the dark, pulsating tube that was its anchor to the shadows. The kid's head tilted again. That jerky, unnatural movement, the expression on its face, if you could call it that, was one of pure, unadulterated annoyance. Why the fuck are you using big words like this right now? Oh my God. Contempt. Like I was particularly stupid insect it had failed to swat, and then it spoke in the same terrible, resonant, grinding voice. The words it said are burned into my memory, colder than any wintry night. Why, it rasped, the sound seeming to scrape the inside of my skull. The fuck? Are humans smarter now? The fuck? Shit, even the monsters know to say the fuck. Guys, it actually says the fuck, but not the fuck, whatever, y'all get it. That was it. That one sentence, the sheer cosmic frustration in it, the implication of past encounters, of easier prey, the utter alien nature of I didn't truck surged forward, gaining speed with agonizing slowness. For a horrible moment, I imagined that tube thing whipping out, trying to snag the trailer to pull me back to drag me into the woods. I raised a glance in the driver's side mirror. It was standing there on the shoulder, unmoving. The headlights of my departing truck cast its small silhouette into sharp relief, and behind it, the dark tube was still visible, a thick, obscene cord sneaking back into the endless night of the forest. It didn't seem to be reacting or moving. It just was. Fuck. And that thing didn't pursue. It just stood and watched me go, and that somehow was almost worse. The sheer confidence, the patience. Like I knew there would be others, or maybe it was just annoyed at this particular attempt that failed. I drove. I didn't know for how long. I just drove. My foot was welded to the floor. The engine screamed. I watched the speedometer needle climb far past any legal or safe limit for a rig that size. On a road that dark, I didn't care. The image of that thing, that child shape with its dark umbilical to the woods, and that voice, that awful grinding voice, asking its horrifying question, was burned onto the inside of my eyelids. I must have driven for an hour, maybe more, at speeds that should have gotten me killed or arrested, before the adrenaline started to fade, replaced by a bone-deep shaking exhaustion that was more profound than any fatigue I'd ever known. My hands were trembling so violently I could barely keep the wheel straight, tears streaming down my face, not from sadness, but from sheer terror and relief. When the first hint of dawn started to grey the eastern sky, my phone finally beeped, indicating a signal bar of service. I pulled over at the first white spot I could find. I practically fell out of the cab, vomiting onto the gravel until there was nothing left but dry heaves. I sat there on the cold ground, shaking for a long time, watching the sun come up, trying to convince myself that it had been a dream, a hallucination put on by exhaustion. But I know it wasn't. The detail of that tube, the voice, the question. You don't hallucinate something that specific, that coherent, that utterly alien. I never reported it. Who would I report it to? What would I say? Officer, I saw a little kid who was actually an ancient cosmic horror, tethered to the woods by a nightmare umbilical cord, and it got mad because I didn't want to be its dinner. They'd have me locked up, brutalize me, drug test me, send me for a psych evaluation. I finished that run on autopilot, dropped the load, drove my rig back to the yard, and I quit. I told them I was burnt out, needed a break. They tried to convince me to stay, offered me different routes, more pay. I just couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that kid, that tube, those woods. Every dark road felt like a trap. I found a local job, something that keeps me at home at night. I don't drive in remote areas anymore if I can help it, especially not at night. I still have nightmares sometimes when I'm very tired driving home late from somewhere. I'll see a flicker at the edge of my vision on the side of the road, and my heart would try to beat its way out of my chest. I don't know what that thing was, an alien, a demon, something else, something that doesn't fit in our neat little categories. All I know is that out there, it's patient, and it seems to have learned that its old tricks aren't as effective as they used to be. Why the fuck are humans smarter now? That question haunts me. It implies they weren't always. It implies that once upon a time, we were easier. That maybe, just maybe, people like me, tired and alone on a dark road, used to just step out of the cab when asked, and were never seen again. So if you're ever driving one of those long, lonely stretches of road deep in the night, and you see something you can't explain, maybe just keep driving. Maybe being smarter now means knowing when not to stop, knowing when to ignore that little voice telling you to help, because what's asking for help might not be what it seems. Stay safe out there, and for God's sake, stay on well-lit roads. And I'll post stories maybe I don't know, every once in a while, because I have some other stories too, but I feel like this one was pretty long, and also I think my allergies are fucking killing me right now, guys. So yeah, again, this is from the thread, no sleep, and